The working situation for sufferers of MS has improved significantly over the past decade, as indicated by a report published by the Population Data Bank. In 2020, around 60% of working-age MS patients were part of the active workforce, but now their participation has risen to nearly 80%. This is due to underlying medical advances allowing significant suppression of the manifestation of severe symptoms. Here's our reporter Alex Wilson with more on the story.
The Kelvinen Artificial Meat Laboratory produces hamburger meats, culinary fillets, and protein wings. Sophia Malmsten has hundreds of laboratory robots under her supervision, and night shifts are par for the course. However, she is not one for complaining.
Going to work is always a real pleasure. Believe it or not, but personally I find it a dream come true to be right here, right now.
Malmsten suffers from MS, which is an autoimmune disease of the central nervous system. In the past, being diagnosed with MS was often a devastating blow and could mean losing your livelihood. However, today we can manage the symptoms much better. The employment rate for sufferers of MS has leapt from 60% to 80%, which is around even with the population employment rate at large.
I was diagnosed in 2017 when I was around 30 or so. I was out walking my dog and then suddenly my feet began to tingle and then my whole lower body went totally numb. The examinations revealed it was MS and doctors told me I could end up in a wheelchair. And then came the horrible fatigue and headaches, along with all the cognitive impairments. So it was starting to look like my working days were over for good.
MS research has advanced in great strides over the past decade. Most remarkably, the majority of patients have carried the disease for years without symptoms. According to the analytic tools of the Population Data Bank, suppressing symptoms is indeed the number one factor for improving employment rates.
Even today, many may not know about this thing, and I certainly don't feel particularly obligated to bring it up. I have my own personal medication, which has helped me to get rid of the attacks of headache and pain. There's also a sensor on my strip of medication reminding me to take my medication, should I somehow forget.
According to Malmsten, the turning point was when Finland began to combine health data from different sources and pharmaceutical research took a leap forwards. In 2020, she too gave her permission for pharmaceutical developers to incorporate information about her medical history, treatment, personal experiences, and genetic makeup.
Before, I always had this fear about where the information would end up if I submitted something. But that kind of changed when they promised not to abuse my information or pass it on or whatever the fear was back then. I do remember how worried my mom was about corporations seeking profits with my information. These days, that kind of thing is under way more scrutiny as well.
It is precisely the integration and transparency of data which provided pharmaceutical corporations with accurate information on the effects of medications. Combined with the genetic makeup of each consumer, MS medications too achieved desirable effects. This made a world of difference in the life of Malmsten.
I was on my way towards invalidity pension. But instead, look at me now, living a normal everyday working life and truly loving it.
Incidentally, the Population Data Bank operates based on these same changes in information usage by combining automated and user-reported data. And according to the data bank, the quality of life and happiness of MS patients has significantly increased.
I have no doubts about that one. Sure, I still need to remember having this disease and things may change. But I'm now in control of MS and not the other way around like before.